we need to create those structures in the sense that, like, we need to put the leadership of our associations, especially in the music sector, in a way whereby to align with a working system or a working structure.
I see. Now let's take a look at basically the film industry has aspects on, I think, taxes on gear, equipment, and all that. I think some filmmakers say that they've found some relief, you know, or of sorts of this. Like when they're importing, you know, these gears and everything. I mean, we have, you know, our film streaming on Netflix and the like, so it's really robust. It's doing really well right now. But again, you know how it is. There's still an argument on this thing. So please speak about it. I think it's, I believe it's called the digital tax on the same, and what the filmmakers are basically experiencing on that end. So
let me first say something that's a bit off, but it will dial back to what you've asked.
All right.
Creation is a process that is inherently tied to the creator. Whether you are painting, whether you're making music, you're making movies. And that's why it's hard for people, because it's attached. This is my creation, it's mine. That attachment makes it really hard to develop a leadership structure with hierarchy. World over, it's not a problem unique to Kenya. So that's why we have these squabbles, why you, why me. The other thing that
the sensitivity of creation and owning your product.
Because it's inherently attached to you.
Yeah.
Number two is generations. Because creativity is like a drug. When you create and you see the joy, whether it's a tangible creation or intangible, it drives you to keep creating. So when you're young, let's say generation 1, you're 15 to 25, and you're creating at that phase, there is nothing you want at that point but just to see your creation out there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
What happens when you get to generation 2, now you're 25 to 35, you start realizing that this creation has a limit. You get to creative blocks, you get to a place where, oh, it's no longer just me who's the cool creator.
Yeah.
We are 20 of us.
Yeah.
You start getting into a world where you must either collaborate or compete. Then you get to the other phase where it's 35 to 45, where now you want value for the 30 years that you've put in.
Yeah.
And that creates...
Now the money aspect.
Yes, now that creates the generational gaps. And that's why you see when it's about leadership, it's the senior creatives who are always involved in that conversation. Rarely, even when you call a town hall, will you see the young ones come in. And that is just how it is. So because we've realized it from studying it, that the young ones who are 15 to 25, they just want the creation out there. They feel like they still have options. The middle group of 25 to 35 is the most critical group to tap. They are the ones we must convert right now, so that when they're getting to their 35 to 45 season, their royalties are coming. The content tracking is happening. We've harnessed technology enough to ensure that they have a pension. As we are expired, the solutions will not help us. So I just wanted to give that little background. In the film industry, what I've come to find in the film industry is the biggest problem we have is sustaining our workforce. The people who work, like the cameramen here, the directors, and the talent. Every time there's an issue in the industry, it surrounds the workforce. It's either they've not been paid, or if they've been paid, they've not been compensated in the right way, or they are working in terrible conditions, and issues around just workforce relations. What we've tried to do at the association right now is engage with the Ministry of Labor, and I would really want to thank them under the PS Mwadime and Secretary Wanjiru for what they've done, because finally, since independence, we have the screen sector, broadly also the creative sector, but let me just say particularly right now, people who work in film and TV, we will be included in the National Occupational Guidelines. What does that mean? Is that when planning is being done at labor and social protection, they now recognize a cameraman as a workforce in the country. Gotcha. That allows us to count them the same way we count teachers, and that gives us an indicator. When planning is being done at the ministry and the economist, he knows I've got X number of people who are recognized as laborers in this industry. So that's a win for us. The other win we've gotten from the association is we've managed to convince NITA, the National Industrial Training Authority, to start a program with that recognition of prior learning. You have a director who was directed for 15 years. He's so good, his work is all over the world in internet, but he doesn't have a degree. To convert this guy from a practitioner to a professional, he needs to have, in Kenya there's something called KNQA, level 5. So how can we take his experience, be able to equate it to something that's worth a degree, so that we have an institution that can give him that, so that he becomes not only an experienced practitioner, but also a professional. So that when jobs are advertised, like right now, they've advertised for PSs, they've advertised for Kenya Film Classification Board is looking for a CEO. Everyone in the film industry can't fit the bill because a lot of us are craft-based, are self-taught. So NITA have agreed, and they've set up a committee for that. So we know by next year, we will have an RPL system that will allow that to happen. But bottom line, what I'd like to say is, and reinforce for all creatives, at some point we all flatline. And that flatline comes after years of doing the same thing. Because when you're good at doing something, you don't change. If you're good in making music, you'll continue making music. Sauti Sol will do that. That's what you'll see with the creative. And at some point, you reach your peak. The challenge we have in Kenya is when everybody gets to their peak, there is no instrument to give them a new vertical growth in the next level. So basically, the top of one mountain in Kenya becomes the bottom of the next. It doesn't propel you. And that is the most important intervention. We must look at how do we ensure our experienced creatives can be able to pivot into greater things. Otherwise, it will become a disaster. How I think it can be done? Policies that are put in place to ensure we are not over-reliant on foreign things. For example, the creators economy. YouTube is 80% the platform where everybody puts up their stuff.
And our TikTok also.
Yeah, how do we ensure Kenyan innovators are given an environment by the government where they can innovate platforms that our people can also use? The film industry right now is experiencing a boom, but that money that's coming into Kenya is all foreign. It's direct foreign investment. Showmax, Mnet, Netflix, Amazon. So the day we have a bad legislation that will deny the DFIs to come in, the industry will die. So that is what we need to look at. How do we ensure our experienced creatives get to a place where if they now need to go global, if they now need to go out, there's a bedrock instrument that can support them? And the answer is there. We have it now as professionals in the industry, and we are calling upon the government to create a level playing ground. Let's not discuss on, you guys come for 3 days workshop, go back. No, let's find a permanent bridge where it's locked and we know that we supply the needs, you design the strategy, we execute together.
Okay. Now let's take a look at two things here, Muzi. One of the aspects of this bill by Senator Eddie Okech is that schools should create curriculums to empower children relevantly in the creative arts. And the other aspect is we have avenues, like you mentioned already, that we need to exhaust. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, that is one of the things that the artists keep talking about. We have concerts and the like, which, like you said, it's a pivot, but like you reach there, you cannot go higher. In fact, it's a bigger problem. What do I do after this in the next 2-3 months? I have nothing else to do. So can you speak about also the relevance of the creative arts taught properly, actually?
Yes. If you look at all these producers you hear, the biggest producers, especially in the hip hop industry, pop, Kanye West, Wyclef Jean, all these guys that we admire in those kind of avenues, they all had school programs. They had music programs in schools. That music was taught properly, So it just happens to be they became creative with their genre with their street genre, and applied the techniques and all those things that they learned in school. So in Kenya, we used to have a very vibrant school system, but it was not like it's not like a curricula as such. It was more like a music festival comes in, was very vibrant, you know, and the biggest thing we used to achieve from a music festival is go to the nationals and then perform for the president. And then there was no plan after that.
I did, as one of those.
You know? Yes. So
I went, like festival week.
So we need to put in a curricula.
Yeah.
Honestly, we need to put in a curricula, a music curricula, proper one, not only for the modern instruments, but also for the traditional and cultural instruments in this country, you know? Because that's the only way we get an identity, you know? So if you look at, nowadays, there's a class, you see a lot of footage of people doing classics, like they're doing the Lingala, the Franco, the Rumba vibes. Like, we need also to look very closely to our own sounds that are diminishing slowly by slowly, you know? So there's a lot of music that comes from that sector. Most of the musicians, I tell you right now, from the Kabaseles, all of them went through the school system and went to the music festival. And from the music festival, after that, they became who they became. But we need to get a proper system into the schools whereby people are learning instruments, you know? People are learning the craft. People are learning to manage. Sometimes you might not be an instrumentalist, but you might work very well in the same music industry in other capacities, you know? So we need to bring that back, and have a very calculated and very systemized way of putting in the curricula in schools. For example, Easy mentioned something about some of us, we are good at our craft, but we don't have the paperwork to support it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of Nyamungu, late Nyamungu, rest in peace. He taught this Japanese lady how to play the nyatiti. The Japanese lady still plays aoko, anyango, still playing the nyatiti.
Yeah.
So in most cases, a talent like that, they're supposed to be honored in a way whereby, because he's basically taught somebody how to play a traditional instrument. Do you know how hard it is? It's easier to play a guitar than to teach somebody how to play a nyatiti. So I'm looking at things like those. We need to look at them and reflect in a way whereby, how can we professionalize them, make them professionals, as Easy said.
I see. Yeah. Right. What about the aspect of the avenues? Like I mentioned to you, we already have a lot of existing things, like, you know, concerts. Now, if you're saying practically, we can connect that to taxes. In the Amendment Bill, Finance Bill 2024, there's a 15% tax on creators. Before, I believe that was 5%. Is what creators used to pay. But then the bill proposed that, of course, which is not happening right now. But even as of, I think this week, earlier on in the week, you saw creators up in arms, you know, protesting about taxes, you know, because how can they, there's nothing, but all right, go.
But also, if you look at the creative, like the music sector itself, it generates a lot of money. The music sector generates a lot of money. It's a situation whereby, like, we are also an avenue of paying taxes, in the sense that if you look at in the US, you know, a lot of, like, if you look at the creative economy in the US, 60% of what the content you see is legitimate content. They also have their problems with piracy, and 40% is pirated.
Right.
In Kenya, 98% of our content is pirated, 2% is legit, you know? So when you look at all these avenues, the sector itself is so sustainable in the sense that from what you do, it generates a lot of income, you know? So it's not like a sector whereby we're telling the government, like, you have to be supporting us to do our craft. Just help us get the structure straight. The whole sector will take care of itself in terms of, like, generating opportunity and generating income.
Tax.
Right. And as you wind up, gentlemen, so brief comments as we're about to,
on the taxes. It's important to realize that whenever a tax proposal is drawn, it's drawn out of research and findings. But there is no data harnessing system that we have in Kenya for our creative industries. So even if you look at the budget book, and I read the whole 300 pages.
All of it?
Yes. There is the gap for me is that when the economists are planning, they are blind. And they don't understand that in the creative industry, there's something called ripple effect taxation. In the film industry, I have a budget. I will need to shoot. I will need to hire a location. When I'm paying for that location, I'm giving income to the real estate sector. I will give income to the legal sector. I will give to the beauty sector. I'll give to all these sectors. But the valuation that will be done against the ticket sale. So that's one thing that's a problem, is that the economists are blind. We need to find a way how we develop and collect our own evidence so that they can be guided in how they make the proposals. Two, there is a solution for all of us as creatives. And should the government agree in whatever shape or form, I personally believe the entire creative industries should be given a special economic zones. Why am I saying this? The same way they're doing with climate, the same way they're doing with green energy, because they're nascent in the, industries that haven't yet grown to the level at which they can self-sustain. If you put all creative industries in a special economic zone, you have a 10-year tax break. You have other concessions and incentives that will help you grow so that we can focus on growth. Right now, a lot of us are trying to focus on the development. But you cannot have economic development when the industries have not grown sustainably. That is one solution that will give government the money they're looking for, and will also give creatives a solution with the taxes, is let's lobby for our own special economic zone. So all music production companies, all companies that do painting, fashion, film, we are all in this one place, and we create our own microeconomy that can be measured without the mishmash of being measured with everything else.
Got you.
To close, my closing remarks, nezongea Kiswahili.
Unazongea Kiswahili. Hata the whole time ungeongea Kiswahili ukitaka lakini.
Vitu mbili. My appeal to creatives, organize. Whether you'll organize in a guild or an association or what, organize for purpose. You can organize as people who do the same thing, or you can organize as people who produce different products, but organize, be under organized bodies, agree on what your issues are, and come to the table as organized people. My appeal to government is, now that there is an office headed by Dennis Itumbi called the Head of Special Programs and Creative Economy, we know we've got a listening ear in the executive. Here at cabinet level at the State Department, my appeal is, when you unbundle it, find a different look at how you've traditionally done public service work. Because the talent that is needed to give you the results that you want from the creative industry may not exist within the public sector. So as you advertise for jobs, as you plan for these roles, plan with a very big open mind that you need to include professionals and practitioners to help you run that State Department so that it gives the desired results. Thank you.
All right.
Closing remarks.
Yes.
Very simple. And I probably address Dennis Itumbi because he's the one in charge of this situation. Like, just fix the royalty collection. It's going to fix the past, and it's going to fix the future. So the royalty collection in this country, the CMO madness, please do not fix that, because I'm telling you, this is the only country whereby artists, you have a hit song or you have hit material in the creative industry, but you got nothing in your pocket. So please, Mr. Dennis Itumbi, tafadhali, fix your situation. This CMO madness, we are tired of talking about it. We are tired of going in circles. Please fix it, you know? Fix the situation and let the artists eat from their sweat. Asante.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, there's always so much more to say and speak about, especially the aspect of the mental health, the artists, creative who've been, passed on because of, being in the industry, doing what they need to do, but nothing has yielded. We also acknowledge that, but we will find time. We will continue this conversation. For now, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Right, so our guests for tonight have been Ezekiel Izzy Onyango, Chairperson, Kenya Film and TV Professionals Association, and Josek Muzi Asikoye, Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, and producer. And right now, of course, we'll be taking a look at the sports news.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner.
Right, let's take a look at the sports news. KCB opened a 5-point lead at the top of the FKFPL table following a 2-1 win over FC Talanta in a league match played at the Dandora Stadium. Now, Francis Kahiro opened the scoring in the 18th minute before Emmanuel Osoro leveled for the Talanta at the stroke of regular full time. However, Maurice Owino was the hero for KCB FC as he scored the winner in extra time to help the Bankers extend their lead at the top of the table. Elsewhere, Kariobangi Sharks settled for a goalless draw against Kenya Police FC.
Sasa lakini huo ni Faruk Shikalo ameweza kufanya kazi kubwa sana hususan kwenye kipindi cha kwanza, akafanya save za maana ambazo zimeweza kuweka mchezoni KCB, akihakikisha tu kwamba anatafuta clean sheet.
Yeah, uko right. To lose concentration, of course, one single mistake, top level, you get punished. So for me, still tuko na vitu za kurekebisha. Yeah, still tumecreate a lot of chances, yes, but at least leo tumepata bao. But going forward, of course, tunafaa kuwork that tukipata bao, then how do we defend the goal?
Msingi ni kushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa hizo point 3. Mchezo umekuwa mgumu kama jinsi ulivyoona, lakini tunashukuru sana kwa hizo point 3. Vijana wamejitolea, wamework so hard, wamekuwa determined kutafuta hizo point 3. Inshallah tumezipata, tunasema asante. Yeah, leo naweza sema despite the win tumekuwa lax sana. Tumekuwa hatujacheza vizuri vile. Despite hiyo ushindi tumepata, hatujacheza vizuri vile jinsi mimi ninavyojua hapo jana. Tumekuwa tuko slow sana katika moves zetu. Kumekuwa na movements zimekuwa chache sana, na pia ukiangalia ile aggressiveness imekuwa chini kidogo. Nadhani ni juu ya hii break tumekuwa na muda mrefu kabla kucheza. I believe next game on Wednesday wata step up juu kidogo.
Well, Electronic Sports Kenya Federation has received a major boost following a sponsorship of gaming supplies provided by AOC monitors. The federation has received 40-inch HD monitors to enable players to prepare for international competitions. The monitors will be stationed at Mount Kenya University, where players will have the opportunity to practice. Kenya is preparing for Electronic Sports Olympics to be held in Saudi Arabia next year.
You should have handed something, one monitor at least.
Yeah.
Is that a...
It's a e-sport.
AOC Gaming have sponsored us with 40 high-end gaming monitors, and they shall be based at Mount Kenya University, which are among our partners. And at Mount Kenya University, we have 154-meter square space. So these gaming monitors will be based there, and it's where our players shall be using to train as they prepare for international competitions.
Kenya, as we all know, is a developing country. You know, a lot of talent is there, and talent is available in enormous. So, and seeing the passion of the sports federation, and seeing the passion of the ministry, and seeing the commitment of the Ministry of Sports, we also thought, you know, we should not be left behind, since we are already a global player in this. So that was our motivation to really participate in the journey of taking the esports in Kenya to the next level.
Now, preparations for the second edition of the Great Chepsaita cross-country run has entered home stretch, with hundreds of athletes, both local and international, set to take part. With just 15 days left to the event, various categories have been sold out, with a promising event, of course, to witness massive attendance. According to the race chairman, Barnabas Korir, athletes from 15 different countries have been confirmed the participation in the event, including the USA, South Africa, Ethiopia, Uganda, Russia, among others. The event, which will be held on December 7th, is aimed at raising funds to help needy students from different parts of the country.
Patu hatujafika ile kiwango about tafuta, they are only 300, and we want to see how we can do that. So between 8 and 10 ni vijana karibu 500 saa hii. ni hasa hiyo category inapaki, lakini wale wengine karibu wamechaa sasa. So we are still looking for these young kids, especially ile tunataka kutoka at least Kenya, ni kwamba we want to have a program ile tunaweza kuhakikisha kwamba next year mwezi wa 5 tutafanya hapa ili dunia mzima waangalie, because we do simultaneously across the world. So
na kwa mapenzi ya Mungu sasa tuko katika gold level. Uniqueness yake ni kwamba uwezi kupata duniani kwanza view peke yake, alafu umati, alafu wakimbiaji, alafu sera zake, kufunza watoto, kukimbia kufunza watoto. Hiyo ndio inatupatia changamoto kwamba unaweza kimbia na unaweza kusoma.
Arsenal will be seeking to bounce back after disappointing results in EPL before the international break as the league enters match week 13 on Saturday. Catch the action live on K24 TV tomorrow from 6 p.m.
Let's do this.
It's a great header. Fabulous. Aina is looking and find it.
Let's do this.
It's a great header. Fabulous. Aina is looking and find it.
K24 Sports News, powered by Mozart Bet.
Back to the future. The future is simulate. Bet smarter. Win faster now. Be a winner.
Well, that's the end of the sports news, and thank you so much for watching Friday Live. My name is Remy Majala, and our conversation today has been on the creative economy. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll see you again next week, and have a lovely weekend.
Oh yeah, Nairobi, Kenya comes alive on the 7th of December 2024. At SK, the Dome Jamhuri Park Showground from 7 p.m. as the sensational Register Etana will be performing live at the Good Vibes Festival. Tickets are now available at ticketyetu.com. Advanced regular tickets are going for 2,000 and 2,500 shillings at the gate. Advanced VIP tickets are going for 4,000 shillings and 5,000 at the gate, while VVIP tickets are going for 6,000 and 8,000 Kenyan shillings at the gate. Ingia ticket yetu na ushike tiko yako leo. Come and have some good vibes.
I'm not the sort of person who falls in and quickly out of love, but to you I give my affection right from the start.
Asante kwa kunipigia simu. Simu yako nitaipokea kwa muda usiokuwa mrefu, na nisipoishika usijali, nitakupigia mimi mwenyewe.
Kupata nitakupigia kama sikiza tune yako, piga *811 *617